Hi, my name's Ethan Lawrence.
This is Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
Hi, I'm Scotty Wartooth.
Hi, my name's Sean Smith.
Hi, my name is dissect.
Hey, this is Ryan McCombs from the band Soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Raging Cajun Lash LaRue.
Hi, this is Jim Vallance. I'm a songwriter, and you're listening to the Chronicles of Podcast with Tom and Jamie.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week we bring you a songwriting icon. Over this man's storied career, he's worked with many iconic artists, including the likes of Neil Diamond, Aerosmith, and of course, Bryan Adams. Here to talk all about his incredible career, a man who's probably had more of his songs butchered at a drunken karaoke than any of us can count. Everyone, please put your hands together as we bring you the Chronicles of Jim Vallance.
Oh,
Lovely, thank you.
absolutely stunning. I mean, Jim, before we really get into the deliciousness of this whole evening, how's your Monday been?
Great so far. It's 3 o'clock in New York, just past 3, and just another day, and as I said, every day is a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you done anything with your day so far, or has it just been a normal Monday? I don't know what a normal Monday looks like.
Well, it's a catch-up day. My partner Catherine and I spent the weekend at a wedding. So it was a Friday reception, Saturday wedding, Sunday goodbye brunch. So we've been visiting friends and had quite a long drive to get to the wedding. So this Monday's been sort of, catch up on sleep and rest and just get back organized again.
Oh, absolutely. How was the week? How was the wedding?
It was lovely. It was in a place called Martha's Vineyard, which I've never visited before.
Ooh.
It's an island off the coast just south of Boston. It's really beautiful. And the wedding was outdoors by the ocean, and you couldn't have asked for a more special occasion or place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love to hear it. That's beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
So what we like to do, Jim, is take these things right back to the start. So when you were young and growing up, young Master Vallance, we could say, what did you want to be when you were growing up? Has it always been music for you, or was there an earlier aspiration like train driving?
Music wasn't on my radar at all. So as a child, let's say age 8, 9, 10, in around there, I was really interested in insects. Studied them, read about them, observed them. And if you had asked me then, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have said entomologist. I want to study insects. And it was my passion. And then aside from that, I love Batman comics and sports. I was in Canada, so hockey was big, and then baseball as well. And life was going along quite swimmingly. And then one Sunday night, as we always did, my parents, myself, and my sister, she's younger, would get our pajamas on and sit in front of the television before bedtime. And there was a program every Sunday night called The Ed Sullivan Show. The family always watched it. There's jugglers and comedians and singers and all that sort of thing. And on this particular night, February 9, 1964, ladies and gentlemen, from Liverpool, the Beatles. It was like, I'd never heard of the Beatles, other than insects. I didn't know what to expect. And honest to God, I was born in 1952, but my life began in 1964 on that night. It just blew me away, and it was life altering. I just knew at that moment that's what I wanted to do.
That's amazing. And it's not the first time I've heard that story where someone says Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. That is what made them want to become a musician. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we as British, we take the Beatles for granted, because they were such a big thing when they came out in the States. To us, it's like, hey, it's the Beatles.
It was more of a slow burn over Uruguay. They finished their 2-year stint in Hamburg in 1962, and then kind of slowly built a career, 62, 63 in England and Europe. But when they arrived on these shores, it was just like unprecedented, just out of the blue, like Martians had landed. It was amazing.
just Scousers, not Martians. So is that where that love for music came from that made you want to pursue this path then, seeing the Beatles?
That was it. That was the defining moment.
That's amazing. Because you started learning to play the piano at age 7, was it?
Yeah, my mom sent me off to piano lessons when I was 7. I did it for maybe a year or two and didn't really love it. It was a little bit structured and the particular teacher didn't really make it fun. So I quit after a few years. I mean, and then, much later, I was very happy to have had that arrow in my quiver, but at the time, it wasn't much fun.
I know you then went on to learn guitar, drums. I think I even read the flute and the cello as well. Like, what was it that made you go, like, I want to do this for a career? I want to learn all these instruments and focus on music.
Well, I mean, once I got, the bug, the passion, age 11, I mean, it's all I thought about from that moment on. All I thought about, all I wanted to do. So I started begging my parents right after the Ed Sullivan Show, pretty much. Started begging them for a guitar or a drum kit, the Beatles being, guitars and drums. And I think they hoped I'd just get over it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they just sort of, let it go. But I just kept at it and kept at it. So finally, age 13, my grandmother bought me a used drum kit. I think a friend of hers had a son who didn't play anymore. And so she scooped this old drum kit. And my parents for Christmas bought me an acoustic guitar. So age 13, I was off and running. I had drums, I had a guitar. And then I, really started, self-teaching on both instruments and just, listening to records, trying to copy the bits off the records. And then met some other fellows at school who were like-minded. We were, again, 13, 14, that age group. And we formed a little band at school and started playing dances on weekends and that sort of thing. And then I was, really off and running after that.
I bet your parents were very happy with your grandmother when she got you a drum kit.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
They're noisy.
Yeah. But I mean, other than obviously the Beatles and the Ed Sullivan Show, is there anyone else that's like kind of influenced you, or was that where you deep dived afterwards to find other people, other bands and stuff?
Well, again, I mean, continued thanks to Ed Sullivan. So after the Beatles, I think the next one on was the Dave Clark Five, if I recall, a few weeks later, and then the Stones, and then the Animals, and then Herman's Hermits. I mean, as you may know, over here they called it the British Invasion. It was just this endless, week after week, another British group would pop up, and then the American group started copying the British groups, like the Byrds. Roger McGuinn got a 12-string guitar because George Harrison had one, and then that was the advent of so-called folk rock. But really, the Beatles kind of lit the fuse, and then it just exploded after that. So, yeah, just suddenly music was everywhere. Suddenly, everyone played guitar. Amazing bands and songs, mostly coming out of the UK. But then over here, it was the Beach Boys and the Byrds, and then later the Doors and so on. So, yeah, it was a very, very fertile time creatively.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, you look back at some of the bands from back then, and you're like, this is incredible. Like, some of the incredible talented artists that are coming out and inspiring each other. It's
and it just got better and better. The Who, and then Led Zeppelin, and I mean, just amazing, all of it.
Obviously, before you went into songwriting full time, you were a drummer in a band called Prism. Was that the original goal for you, to be a full-time musician?
I didn't really have a plan. I mean, I wanted just to do music every day, all day. And so, like I mentioned, in school, I was in bands, various, fellows. We'd get together and the band would break up and there'd be another band. But by the time I graduated school, everyone was looking at colleges in the last year of school, except me. And my parents started talking about college, and I said, I don't want to go to college. I want to be a musician. And my mother said, you can't make a living at that. And I said, some people do. And she said, yeah, but they're good.
Oh,
right. Oh, I know. I still haven't fully recovered. It's all right. So, I mean, I did do 1 year of college to sort of placate my parents. And the compromise was I did a year of music college, which again, like piano lessons was, later it was useful, but at the time, again, it was just a bit of a chore. So after 1 year of college, I dropped out and then started, so how old am I? By this time, I'm 19 or so, and then started to really earnestly pursue a career in music. And my mother was right. You can't make a living at it. I was really desperate for a while. It was, wedding here, bar mitzvah there, just playing weekends, for not much money, just enough barely to make the rent and the groceries. So that was kind of the beginning. And I think there's something to be said for, that initial hardship. It kind of, as they say, cuts the boys from the men. You have to really be determined to carry on in the face of all this adversity. And I mean, in my case, I suppose I was uniquely unqualified to do anything else. So I had to carry on. It's all I knew. So there were a few slim years, and then, sorry, back to your question. Then I found these other fellows, and we formed a band initially called Sunshine with a Y, and it was a kind of a jazz prog rock group, quite complex music, not very commercial or accessible, but the musicians were really good. I mean, I was probably the least talented fellow in the band. There were some real super virtuoso players. And then that band slowly morphed into Prism, actually, by which time I had quit. Yeah, I'd quit. And then later, in my absence, Sunshine became Prism, and they recorded a bunch of demos and sent them off, and record companies weren't interested. So I'm making a long story short. So the leader of the band, a fellow named Bruce Fairburn, who we could maybe come back to later, he rang me up, because I'm now unemployed, and he said, look, we're having trouble getting a record deal. Do you happen to have any songs we could have a go at? So I gave Prism a couple of songs. They recorded them, got a record deal, and then I got invited back into the band. So that was sort of how that happened. And I became the drummer in that band. That was my first proper recording and record release and so on.
One thing that stood out to me about your time in Prism, Rodney Higgs.
Yeah.
Why that name?
Well, again, back to Sunshine. Sunshine was two bands. It was a prog rock jazz band, and then it was also we would dress up sort of like, not quite clowns, but we would do marches in the street, like with tubas and just a snare drum on my belt, and we did Dixieland music and that sort of thing. It was a whole other kind of life, and we'd get hired to do parties and that sort of thing. And we each took a nickname. Richard Christie, the bass player, was, Eddie Dexter. And Peter Baring, the piano player, was Captain Boll Weevil. And I took the name Rodney Higgs. So when we moved on to Prism, I just kept the name. And, it comes up at times like this, thank you. And I regret all these years later that choice, having actually on the album cover, it says Rodney Higgs, the Prism album cover, rather than Jim Vallance. So if I could rewind and change it, I would, but much too late now.
It's fine. We have the internet. We all know the truth. It's fine.
All right.
You only did the one record with Prism as a member of the band, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did one album with them, and then the obligatory tour. So we went out on the road, opening for a brand new band, again from the UK, called Foreigner, who you would know, but they were unknown at the time, and also Heart. We opened for Heart.
Oh, nice.
But it was, again, early days, and we were 5 guys in a rental car, staying in cheap motels and eating microwave tacos from petrol stations on the highway.
Oh.
And it wasn't very glamorous. So after a bit of that, I didn't want to do much more of that. So I quit the band again. And so now I'm out just kind of, free and looking for the next opportunity.
Don't Let Him Know, though, is an absolute tune. Absolutely love that record, that song. Unbelievable.
Which one, sorry?
Don't Let Him Know.
Ah, yeah, that was much later.
Okay.
That was, so I quit the band, and then there were 2 or 3 or 4 albums later.
Oh, wow, okay.
And they went through a couple of different changes, and new lead singer and so on. So that was a song that Bryan Adams and I wrote for Prism probably 5 or 10 years after I quit. So it's quite a ways down the road.
Oh, sorry. I just completely jumped forward.
Getting a little ahead, but
sorry.
No worries. No worries.
But when you were in Prism, though, is that where your songwriting started?
Well, I'd been writing before.
Okay.
nothing really in mind, like no vehicle, no record deal, no artist to even um, carry the songs. But I was just writing. I mean, it's an interesting thing, the creative process. Um, and to be honest, even when I'm asked how do you write songs, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you other than it's an obsession. When you decide to be a songwriter, there's a switch that goes on in your head, and you can't, for the life of you, you can't turn it off. You're thinking about songs all the time. You're always writing in your head, and then if you're actually sitting in your room with your piano and gear around you, then you're really working away at it. But I was just, even before Prism, I was writing all kinds of songs, and just I had nowhere to go with them. They just end up on the shelf, and that's why when Prism approached me prior to that first album, having failed to get a record deal and needing songs, I actually had a bunch of songs all ready to go, which is how I was able to say, yeah, here's a couple, and then that got them the record deal. So yeah, once that switch was on, I've for most of my life was never not writing, and if I wasn't writing, I was thinking about writing.
Wow.
It's a blessing and a curse. It's a curse. It really is.
I was going to say, I bet that would drive you mad when you're just like trying to relax and watch a film and just like, I've got a song idea from this.
Oh yeah, it's very distracting. You can be having dinner with friends or family, or any number of things. Driving, having a shower, watching a film, and there's just music in your head all the time. It's very distracting.
And do you have moments where you have to stop yourself from doing whatever you're doing just to write some stuff down? Like if you're asleep and wake up at 3 a.m., it's like, I must jot this down now.
Yeah, well, you hear great stories about like Keith Richards waking up in the middle of the night with this idea and reaching over and grabbing the cassette machine and humming the song Satisfaction into the machine, going back to sleep, having not remembered any of it. He woke up the next morning and found this great song on his machine. I don't know if you've heard that story. And Paul McCartney had this dream of this song, and he was going around everyone saying, I must have heard it somewhere, like, da 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 da. Yesterday he wrote it in his sleep. So even I haven't had that experience, but clearly, even in your sleep, if you're Keith Richards or Paul McCartney, you're even writing songs while you're sleeping. So it's just, it's like I say, a blessing and a curse.
That's madness, that is. But I do want to talk about your songwriting process, though. I know you said you can't really explain how it works, but generally, does it start with melody, lyrics as like a concept, or is it just whatever comes to you at that time?
It's never the same twice, but it always starts with something really small. It'll be like a little tiny, I used to call them snippets, a little snippet of melody, a couple of lines of lyric, or even a couple of words. And sometimes that'll occur to you, as I say, if you're driving or having dinner with friends or any number of things, something will occur to you. And before the iPhone, when you could, record I used to have a little handheld cassette machine. It was tiny, tiny. And I would just always have that with me. And when ideas popped up, whether they were lyric or melody or whatever they may be, I would just, sing it into the machine, which reminds me, the Beatles, before there were cassette machines, I mean, there was no way to record anything if you were just out and about. And someone asked Paul McCartney, how did you, because they were touring all the time. So John and Paul would write songs in hotel rooms and all kinds of places. And someone asked them, how did you remember them? And Paul said, well, if they were really good, we remembered them. And I'm thinking, how many songs got away? How many did they, yeah. So that was my method, just record these little bits. And then you just keep, like, I just write down, I have a notebook, I had lots of titles, song titles, lyric ideas, and then, melody things on the little cassette machine. And then you end up in a room with another fellow or a couple of fellows or a woman, whoever it may be, and you're songwriting. And the first question is sort of, you're just both sitting there, all of you sitting there with a blank piece of paper. And the question is, has anybody got anything? And, somebody would say, well, I've got this little bit of melody or this little idea for lyric. And then 2 or 3 people in a room, starting with that, just 2 seconds of something. An hour later, you've got 30 seconds of something. And by the end of the day, you just keep stretching it and growing it. By the end of the day, you've got the beginnings of a song. Like an example comes to mind. The very first day I met Steven Tyler and Joe Perry from Aerosmith. So very same thing that I just described. Never met them before in my life. I'm obviously a fan, I was. But, and having them walk in my house, you're like freaking out. Oh my God, it's Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. But, once you kind of get the nerves under control and have a bit of a chat and just get acquainted, then we sat down and it was like, has anybody got anything? And Joe Perry had a riff, just it was a guitar thing. Dun, 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 dun. It just went over around and around and around, didn't go anywhere. But it was this one little snippet of a riff. And I picked up my bass and I said to Joe, just keep playing that riff. And I started playing some notes on the bass that took the riff sort of on a little journey. And then Steven started just singing, nonsense lyrics like blah blah diddy da da, and literally, so this is say noon on the day we met. By dinner time, we had 60% of a song called Ragdoll written. I mean, and it just honestly, I can't explain the process any better than that. It's just 3 guys in a room, one little idea, and 6 hours later, you've got the more than the beginnings of a song. In that case, it was called Ragtime. It wasn't called Ragdoll, because we had sort of a New Orleans kind of shuffle to it. So we were Ragtime, living in the movie. And it was much later, a whole different story where it became Ragdoll. But my point being, in that 6 hours from noon till dinner, we started with just a dun 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 a little da. What's that? 2 seconds of riff, and grew it into a 3 or 4 minute song.
That's amazing. I suppose it's hard to like you say, there is no formula to this. It's creative ideas bouncing off each other. I guess I could see how it's like hard to explain how it works, really.
Yeah, and it's it's a lot of things too. I mean, before we sat down and before Joe even played that riff, we had a chat. We just got acquainted. I think there was a pot of tea and some cookies involved. We just sat and chatted about various influences. Discovered we all love the Stones, we all love the Beatles, we all love Zeppelin. So when we picked up our instruments, we were kind of on common ground. We knew we'd all kind of come from the same place, same influences, and then you're off and running. So there's common ground. There's trust, because you're bearing your souls as strangers, and like, what do you think of this idea? And they might say, no, I don't like that. And then you have to be prepared to go, okay, well, what about this idea? And even more importantly, by the end of the day, it's not that your idea was used, it's that the best ideas were used. So, so the 3 of you have to really not just be trusting of the others, but, generous with your input, but also, humble with your ideas if they're not accepted.
But when you're doing this though, do you sort of have to put a different head on depending on who you're working with? Because you could come up with something and you go, that wouldn't work for an Aerosmith song, but it might work for a Bryan Adams song. Like, yeah, well, is that part of it?
Well, back to my mother's, you can't make a living at that. And the way to make a living at it is to cast a really wide net. So, I over a period of whatever it's been, 50 years, I've collaborated with hundreds and hundreds of other songwriters and artists. And I can't think of a specific example, but let's say one week I was writing with Michael Bublé, and the next week it was Kiss. Let's say that. So, changing hats or changing gears, that's quite a dramatic stretch. But at the end of the day, it's all music, it's all songs, it's all the same skill set. And it's just, to your point, it's just applying, some Well, observation. I mean, and again, to make a living at it, not only do you have to, um, be have the right hat on, but at the end of the day, there's going to be room, at least back in the days when I was writing the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was room for 10 or 12 songs on an album. And a band or an artist might collect or write 20 songs from which to choose 10. So if your song isn't one of those 10, all your efforts are wasted. So there's really I don't know if competitive is the right word, but it's certainly, you really make sure that you check all the boxes. And in fact, when I used to do songwriting seminars and workshops and so on for young songwriters back in the 80s, I did a bit of that for a while when I was on the board of SOCAN, which is like your PRS or the BMI in the USA. I used to do these events, and I would say that songwriting to get it on the album is a lot like school, where on Monday the teacher says, by Friday I need a paper, and it needs to be about this, 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 and this. So you go home and you've got two things now. You've got a deadline, which is Friday, and you've got 4 boxes to check. So you can wait till Thursday night and do something really quick and maybe check 2 of the boxes, and you might get a passing grade, maybe. Or you can start right away on Monday, make sure all 4 boxes are thoroughly researched and included, and start the paper on Monday and revise it on Tuesday and add to it on Wednesday and review it on Thursday. And so Friday you hand it in and it is aces, And that was my approach to songwriting, is just do the homework, get in the right vibe. If you're writing with Aerosmith, it's certainly one vibe. If you're writing with Joe Cocker, it's a whole other vibe. You just and again, it's a little bit, if not competitive, if not mercenary. I mean, everyone's got groceries to buy and rent to pay. So you know what? You want the song to get on the album. And there's a game to play and a way to do it. And I did it the same every time. And to be honest, I didn't always get the song on the album. Even applying all of those parameters, it didn't always work out, but it sure helped. The work ethic certainly helped.
How did you get your name out? Because obviously back then there was no internet, there's that sort of thing. So obviously when you start out, how did you manage to then be able to get to work with all of these massive bands and artists?
I know it's very much a catch-22. You can't work with Aerosmith until you've had a hit, but you can't have a hit until you've worked with Aerosmith. So, yeah, it's really, just like life is a journey, so is the music business. There's a lot of, I used to say some of the people I worked with who, it was frustrating because they wouldn't understand the game I just talked about. And I used to refer to those people, I'm talking about other songwriters, people who never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. So you first of all, you have to know when there's an opportunity right in front of you and then go after it. And in my case, or in the case of me and Bryan, so I met Bryan Adams. That's after Prism. So we're going back to your earlier questions. So after I'd quit Prism, I was, sort of unemployed again. And I was just in a music shop one day. By this time, I think I'm 23, maybe. And I'm in a guitar shop, and there's this kid in the guitar shop, this 18-year-old young kid with pimples and we just started chatting. Actually, it was a mutual friend was also in the shop and introduced us. And it's like, Bryan Adams, Jim Vallance, nice to meet you. And we had a chat, and we kind of hit it off. And he had just quit his band, and I had just quit my band. And so we said, let's get together and see what happens. And a couple of days later, he came over to my house. He was living with his mom. He had not a penny to his name, but talent and attitude and just energy and vision. He was really quite something. So we spent a few days and wrote a few songs. And then, so that was January 1978. So we just wrote every day. And he did an album and it did a little bit in Canada, not very well. And then a year later, we did another album, and a year later, we did another album. So it took until 1985 for him to have any huge success. 1983, we had a bit of success, but it was not overnight by any means. So a better part of 5 years minimum before we had anything to show for it. And we worked really hard to get to that point. But somewhere around 1982, so early in our writing relationship and before we had any big success, there was a fellow record producer, a Canadian, who I'd never heard of it, to be honest. His name was Michael James Jackson. I'm not even sure who he's done. Maybe you folks know him, but
I know the name, but I think I know the name for the project you're about to talk about. So
yeah. So Michael James Jackson. So because Bryan and I were Canadian, somehow he got wind of us. So one day the phone rings, and my wife picks up the phone, and she goes, "Jim, it's Michael Jackson." I went, "What?" Wrong Michael Jackson. Anyway, he said, "Hello, this is Michael James Jackson." I went, "Oh, hello." He said, "I'm a record producer, and I'm going to be doing an album with Kiss. Would you and Bryan be interested in submitting some songs?" And yeah, of course. So I rang Bryan and told him, and so we had a couple of chats with Michael, and we wrote a couple of songs. I'm making a long story short here. We wrote 2 songs. One was called Rock and Roll Hell, and one was called War Machine. And we wrote them, did a demo recording in my basement studio, sent them off. Michael liked them. He sent them to Gene Simmons. Gene rang us. And so, again, phone rings, it's Gene Simmons. And I put the phone on speakerphone, and Bryan and I are both in the room. And Gene says, "Gosh, I love these 2 songs that you sent. I think we'd like to record them." And Bryan and I are looking at each other across the room. Great. And Gene says, "There's just one problem. They need a 3rd verse." And I looked at Bryan, and Bryan looked at me, and I said to Gene, I think they're fine the way they are." He says, "You don't understand. They need a 3rd verse." In other words, he meant if you want a song on a Kiss album, there has to be a Kiss member credited on the song. So he wrote a 3rd verse on for the songs, and wasn't greedy with the credit that he requested. So it was all fair. And Kiss recorded those 2 songs. And I'm answering your question from about 10 minutes ago. Again, very long story. And that was a very big break for me and Bryan as writers. So it kind of, got us on the map. So that was our catch-22, where we did finally, one more rung up the ladder. And I think that was a great calling card. And then when Bryan started to have a bit of success, then again, back in the day, you bought an album, you turned it over, and you went, "Oh, the names in the brackets in tiny print under the song, written by Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance." And I started getting calls from managers and producers and record companies who, once they see your name connected to something successful, they must think you had something to do with it, and they'll ring you up.
See,
so it's all, and then it's exponential. Then once you just get that first little door open, then all kinds of doors open.
See, Kiss are my favorite band on the entire planet, so they were going to get brought up in this anyway. But,
okay.
But now you've mentioned them. Obviously, that album for them was a big, things have gone really bad. We need to get our names back. Did you know the band was in that sort of state when you started working?
I didn't, no. Because I was, aware of them and, liked what I'd heard, but I wasn't like a Deep Cuts fan, like I'm assuming you are. I didn't really know all the material, had never seen them live. Obviously knew who they were, and was very pleased to have them record a couple of our songs. But no, I didn't know the backstory. And we're going to get to another backstory, I think, in a few minutes too. If we get to Heart, that's another interesting, similar band in trouble needing songs. But we'll get to
that. Just one other thing on the Kiss thing, because obviously War Machine's been a staple of their live set for years, including on the final shows they ever did. Did you ever get to see them play it live?
I didn't. No, I didn't, and I regret it. I really should have. In fact, a good friend of mine, someone named Rob Roth, he's actually a Broadway director, but he's also a huge music fan, and friends with Kiss, and they had him design the set pieces, the visuals for their last tour, and it was from him that I learned that War Machine was such a big part of their live show. I didn't even know that.
And obviously, Brian's not long released his own versions of these songs as well, which are fantastic. They sound so different, yet it's still that same song, and they're still brilliant.
Well, those two songs that Brian just released actually predate the Kiss recordings. Those are the recordings we sent to Kiss for them to sort of work from.
So those are the original recordings. I thought he'd just redone them.
No, 82.
That's wow. That is awesome. Yeah.
So you've mentioned it then. You're going to have to tell the Heart story now. You've set us up.
Okay. Well, and I very much enjoyed your interview with Ron Nevison. I mean, I'm a huge fan to start. And I thought you did a really great job pulling wonderful stories.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so where he and I connect, again, I've never met him other than being a big fan, is again, this would be 1982-ish. I was hired by Capitol Records Canada. I was living in Vancouver. They flew me back to Toronto to write songs with a band called Toronto. Not a great name for a band, but the band was called Toronto. And they had some success in Canada. I don't think they ever much had outside, no USA or UK success. But I went back to Toronto and spent a week or so writing with them. And again, it's the old story. You write 20 songs, there's room for 10. And one of the songs I wrote with them was What About Love? And when it came time to choose the 10 songs for the album, What About Love didn't make the final cut. So it just ended up on a shelf somewhere. And I actually forgot about the song, literally just completely forgot about it. So that was 1982. So 1985, and this is where my story and Ron Nevison's story kind of intersect. I don't think he knew some of my backstory because he started the story where I'm about to go and then forward. So 1985, I get a call from Capitol Records Los Angeles, a guy named Don Grierson, and Ron Nevison mentioned Don in his interview with you. He said he got a call from Don Grierson. So Don Grierson rang me and said, "Congratulations, you've got the first single on the new Heart album." And I said, "What song would that be?" And he said, "What About Love?" I went, "Really? How did that song get to you?" And so what had happened is the band Toronto were on a small label called Solid Gold, and Solid Gold went bankrupt. And EMI Publishing in Canada, in the bankruptcy settlement, acquired the entire song catalog of Solid Gold Records. And a fellow named Mike McCarty, a publisher with EMI, Canadian fellow, he listened to every song that they had acquired. He went through the entire catalog, listened to everything that had been recorded, everything that hadn't been recorded, and he came across What About Love? And he thought, oh, this could be good for someone. And he sent it to Don Grierson in Los Angeles. And Don thought this would be great for Heart. So Don Grierson sent it to Ron Nevison, who was producing Heart at the time. Ron loved the song. Ron, and again, I didn't know any of this until, that was 1985. I read Heart's, Anna Nancy's biography about 2 years ago. And so what I'm about to tell you, I had no idea, never even heard about this. And Ron alluded to it in his interview with you. So Ron Nevison has this song, What About Love? He flies up to Seattle. He plays it for the Wilson sisters, Anne and Nancy. In the biography, in the book, it says Nancy got up walked out of the room, and on her way out said, "I will never record that song. I hate it." And Anne didn't like it either. And Ron said, "Wait a minute. Listen, how about?" Oh, and I should maybe preface this by saying that Heart were at a point in their career where they just had one or two albums that hadn't done well.
Yeah.
So this was a make or break album for them. Apparently, the record company was going to drop them if they didn't have some success. So Ron says to them, "Listen, I think it's a hit. Here's the deal. Let's record it. If you still hate it, I promise I won't put it on the album." So they agreed. They recorded it. They ended up liking it. It got released. And that's when I first heard about it. When Don called me and said, "Congrats, you've got the first single." And it was their comeback hit that they needed.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I bet Toronto is still sat there going, "Why did we pass on that song?"
Well, yeah, sure. But other than, I mean, the two members of the Toronto band, Sharon Alton and Bryan Adams, the two band members I wrote it with, I mean, we all shared in the success of that song. So all was not lost. They shared royalties and every success the song had. So whether it was them or Hart that recorded it, the same result. But back to, again, the songwriting thing, let me just take a moment to say, I went to Sharon and Brian's house in Toronto, and they made dinner. We had a nice meal. Then we went down to their little studio in their basement. And again, it's like, "What do you got? Anybody got any ideas?" And I said, "I've got this one idea." I said, "I've always liked how John Lennon often just used one note, like, all you need is love." It's like one note, or the song Help. When I was younger, so much younger than, it's all one note, today. Or on the White Album, the song he wrote about his mother called Julia. Half of what I say is meaningless, but I say it just to reach you, Julia. All one note. So I said, I've got this idea. It's just all one note and 3 words. I said, this is all I've got. I've got, what about love? So it's all I've got. And they went, "Oh, okay." And we picked up our guitars, and that would have been maybe 7 p.m. And by midnight we had, a good start on a song. And by the next day, I think we finished it. So again, back to one of your previous curiosities about how songs start and how they get written. And that was another one that just started with literally, "What about love?" That's all we had. Nice. And, and then fast forward 3 years and it's on the radio, Heart having a hit with it. So, I mean, you couldn't make that up. You couldn't, invent that story. It's just every song has a story of its own and a life of its own. And if I could do that every time, I would.
Just imagine you hadn't got that phone call where you just turn on the radio one day and What About Love comes on. You're like, "I know that. Why do I know that? I've heard that somewhere."
Yeah. Well, I've had that happen.
Really?
Remember, first of all, I had a song with Brian called "Heaven" that was a big hit.
Yes.
All over the world, actually. It was #1 everywhere. And that was 1985. And then in 2001, unbeknownst to me, a Spanish DJ, DJ Sammy, did a version of "Heaven." And I'm driving my car one day and the radio's on and the song had been on for maybe 30 seconds. And I went, "Wait a minute. I wrote that." But yeah, it happens. It does happen.
I was going to mention that song in a moment because that was a huge hit, that DJ Sammy version.
It was. Yeah.
I remember it first coming on. I remember my mom going, "What have they done to Bryan Adams? What do they think they're doing to Bryan Adams?"
I quite like it. I think it's infectious.
It's catchy, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about him a fair whack, so I think we should probably bring him up. Obviously, your long-standing relationship with Bryan Adams. What's the secret? Because obviously you've been friends for so long. and you've had massive. I mean, I looked at Summer of '69 on Spotify, and it's been played on Brian's page over 1 billion times.
Yeah.
Which to you must be like, I don't know. Did you ever think like writing these songs you'd have such massive hits, like especially Summer of '69?
I mean, Summer '69 started me and Brian in a room with our guitars in our laps, looking at each other. Again, what do you want to write about? And when we finished the song a day or two later, we were the only two people on earth who'd heard it. And you can't predict, that
No.
45 years later, or 40, whatever it's been, it would have 1 billion streams on Spotify. No, so you know what? Of course I pinch myself sometimes, like so grateful. Again, back to my mother saying, "You can't make a living at it," and I have done, and I'm never for a minute am I ungrateful. Never for a minute. I always pinch myself.
What's funny, I found out when doing my research for this, is everyone hears those opening lines to Summer of '69, thinking, "Oh, these are Brian's experiences from when he was younger." Aren't they your lyrics? Like,
well, there are lyrics, and what I get this question often because people say, "Well, Brian was only 12 in 1969," But I say, "Well, Robbie Robertson wasn't even born when he wrote The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down about the Civil War in 1865." So
that point.
Yeah. So it wasn't even called Summer of '69. That came. We'd finished the song, and it wasn't called that. It was called Best Days of My Life. So if you know the lyric, got my first real six string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. It was the summer of '69. That was the only time the phrase Summer of '69 appeared in the song. So 4 minutes later, the song's done, and that's the only time. The key phrase was, "Those were the best days of my life," and that's what we called it. And then about a month later, we're listening to the song we had finished, and we went, there's got to be a better title than that. So we just took this phrase, Summer '69, from the first verse, and we dropped it into 4 or 5 more spots in the song, just empty spots, and changed the title of the song to Summer '69. So it wasn't even called that in the beginning. And it was, again, sat down, what do you want to write about? Both of us staring at a blank sheet of paper. And he said, "Well, remember when John Lennon wrote Strawberry Fields about his childhood in Liverpool, and then Paul McCartney wrote Penny Lane about his childhood in Liverpool? Why don't we write a song about what our childhood is, plural." And so again, it was like first guitars, first girlfriends, first bands, got my first real six string, bought it at the 5 and dime. Well, I got my first real six string for Christmas from my parents, and I think Brian bought his at a pawn shop. But got my first real six string, bought it at the 5 and dime. It just sounded, what do they call it? Trees of Liberty or something. So the story isn't completely autobiographical, but it kind of is.
Some of the songs you guys have written, we just mentioned Summer of '69, then Heaven we've already mentioned, and there's my personal favorite Bryan Adams song in Run to You. I absolutely adore that song.
Oh, thanks.
What do you think it is about you and Brian that just works? What is that dynamic? Do you know what it is? It's just something clicks.
Well, I mean, some of it you can't really explain. It's just in the ether, but we share a work ethic. We're willing to spend as much time as it takes to get it right, or as right as we can get it. We used to get together, if Brian wasn't touring, we'd get together every day, like literally noon. We'd have a sandwich and a cup of tea, and then go down to my studio and write till midnight some days, take a dinner break perhaps. And neither of us wanted to be the one at 11:30 p.m. saying, I'm a little bit tired, should we quit? We just kept going. We didn't want to, neither of us wanted to be the one to end it. And we just did that every day, and we worked really hard, and we trusted each other. I referenced that previously. You have to really trust the other writer. And to be able to say to him, if he has an idea, I think we can do better. That's, you've got a better one. I know you do. and not be insulted or, and you just carry on. And again, the best idea wins. You don't fight for your idea just because it's yours. If the other fellow has a better idea, it's in. And Bryan and I had that trust and that work ethic, and we're willing to put in the hours to do as good work as we could. So, and we share that. And to this day, it's kind of the same formula, if that's what it is.
So another one of Bryan's huge songs, especially over here, like, I think it was #1 for like 14 weeks in Everything I Do It For You. Were you involved in that song?
I was not, no. So Bryan and I, that was Mutt Lange. I wish I had been. I mean, Bryan and I had 10 years of really intense work. You got two guys in a room with no windows for 10 years. We hit a wall so we met in February, so we met in January 78, and by August 89, we hit a wall, personally, creatively. We just got to the end of our tether, and we started getting on each other's nerves. And I was the one who said, I think we need a break. And Bryan said, what do you mean, like a week? Or I said, no. I mean, I think we're just go our separate ways for a bit. And I don't know how long it was. It might have been 5 or 10 years until we reconvened. And in the interim, that's when I went and worked with Aerosmith and, Hart and, all the others. And then Bryan worked with Mutt Lange and Elliot Kennedy and Gretchen Peters and others. So that was, that song you're referencing was a year or two after Bryan and I had departed ways. And yes, it is huge, and it is a really, really good song. I love it too.
And when you've seen the success of it, you couldn't have brought that to the table when we were working together, could you, Bryan? I did want to mention Aerosmith again as well, just briefly, because with Aerosmith, you wrote two of my not just favorite Aerosmith songs, but two of my favorite songs of all time. So I love having these moments where I can just say thank you, and that's The Other Side and Eat the Rich. Those two songs are phenomenal, especially Eat the Rich. It's such a unique song with all the Polynesian sounds and those beautifully weird sounds that Stephen makes with his mouth. So
that one was just literally a jam session. We just, me and Stephen and Joe in the room. Stephen had a keyboard, a piano called a Korg. I forget what the model number was, but M1. And it had a bunch of, you could have it, press a button and it's an organ, press another button, it's a piano, press another button, it's a guitar, press another button, and it's Polynesian logs or whatever. And he just started going waka, 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 on the keyboard. And Joe picked up his guitar and started doing it. And I picked up the bass and started playing. And we just did that for probably, I bet we did it for an hour without stopping, just that vibe. And that, we just loved kind of what we had spontaneously come up with. And so we grew that into a song. And Stephen is brilliant with lyrics. I think I contributed, a bit to that song, but mostly it's him. I never would have thought of Eat the Rich. That wouldn't have been an idea of mine. So, but his mind goes places that yours and mine don't.
You mean you wouldn't have thought the lyrics? You mean you wouldn't have thought the lyrics, "Take your grey poop on, my friend, and shove it up your ass"?
I cannot take credit for that. I'm sorry. And the other side, that's an interesting one too. So, again, this switch that is always on. It was Christmas vacation. I think I had loads of time on my hands, and I went down to my studio one day. Well, 2 or 3 days in a row, and just had all kinds of ideas. I don't know, it was rare for me even to have that many ideas all at once. And I just put them down on tape as quickly as I could. And The Other Side was one of them. And I came up with the whole music bit. So no melody, no lyrics, just the guitar, bass, and drums. And the horns, I put the horns on too. And it was just what we call a track. It wasn't a song. It was just a track. And I sent it to Stephen, and this is like before email. So I literally put it on a cassette tape, put it in an envelope, and sent it by FedEx from Vancouver to Boston. And it was the dead of winter. And Stephen told me later he got the envelope, opened it, took the cassette, put it in his cassette machine. And what he liked to do, this is again winter, but he was a very active fellow. He liked to walk, but he had a treadmill in his house. So even if it was, 2 feet of snow outside, he would be indoors walking. So he put his headphones on, put my cassette in his Walkman, Sony Walkman, and he went for a walk on his treadmill and started singing along with what I'd sent him and came up with, some lyrics and melody. Usually in Stephen's case, melody comes first, and maybe a few, lyrics that might survive the whole way, but mostly it's just just nonsense stuff to kind of placeholder, syllables. And then later the lyrics get written. But he recorded what he did and sent it back to me. And the other side part, the title, he had that in there. And I went, Stephen, you got it wrong. You've sung the chorus over what I thought was the verse, and you've sung the verse over what I thought was the chorus. It's all backwards. He says, no. He says, listen again. It's better that way. And I had already had this preconception, so I was kind of locked in, But he was right. He was totally right. It was better his way. So we wrote that song 5,000 miles apart. I did what we call the bed, and then he added the lyric and melody over at his end. I contributed a few lyrics long distance as well on that one, but that's how that one came to be. And then to sort of tie this whole thing into Kiss. So Take Me to the Other Side, the melody is a simple scale, A, B, C, D, E, and dun, foolish pride, take me to the other side. Kiss had a song, A, B, C, D, E, I was made for loving you, baby. And Motown had a song, who was it? The Four Tops? I can't remember which of their bands. Standing in the shadows of love. So me and Stephen got sued by Motown for using that da-da-da-da-da-da.
What?
And Kiss got sued for using those. I mean, I don't think anybody owns those 5 notes. But when Motown's lawyers come after you, our advice from our lawyers was just give them whatever they want. You'll spend more money fighting it than you will, retaining your share.
There's only so many chords and so many orders you could put them in.
I know.
They're going to have crossovers.
I mean, we could do a whole other podcast just on, plagiarism and, borrowed bits and people suing each other and so on. I mean, some of it is completely justified. Some of it is very, very dodgy. But it goes on all the time. And we only hear about half of it because I actually had 2 huge successes with big artists borrowing bits from me. And my publisher sued on my behalf and in 2 cases won. And it was actually very, very profitable. So I like to say, I like it when people steal my songs. Just, you have to be careful not to be the one doing the stealing, because then it comes back to bite you. But in that case, if you look at the other side, you'll see that the credits are Steven Tyler, Jim Vallance, Holland Dozier, Holland, the Motown writers. So we had to give them some of the money we paid so far, and then they share in all future royalties.
Oh, okay. That's insane.
Yeah. You know what? You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
I guess it's called the music business for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Jim, with everyone that you've worked with, all the songs that you've written, what song that you've written really holds the most personal meaning to you?
Well, I think Summer '69, because when and I won't take undue credit because Bryan, contributed, and as we were writing it, I was thinking about, my first guitar, my first band, Standing on Your Mama's Porch. That was Betty Donaldson, my friend Murray's younger sister, who I was mad about. So I've got lots of memories, and it might be the one song of any that I've written that has at least, a significant portion of me in it. And I'll say, in Brian's defense, it has bits of him as well, whatever he was thinking as the two of us were in the room. But yeah, that's the song that's just kind of, personal in a way, and also the one that's probably been the most successful. It just won't go away. I mean, here we are, again, 40 plus years later, and it's, like you say, 1 billion streams on Spotify. And I still hear it if I go to the shop, to the store, groceries, I'll hear Summer 69 on the intercom, so it's been the song's been a gift in many ways.
Just out of interest though, out of all the artists you've worked with, are there any that you've always wanted to work with, or you were so close to working with it never happened? Is there any of those people that you'd love to collaborate?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, clearly, wouldn't it be great to sit down with Paul McCartney?
Wow.
But as petrified as I was for the first few minutes, working with Stephen and Joe, or Ozzy or Alice Cooper, or any number of people that I was a fan of before meeting them, it was a thrill. But I don't think the first few minutes of nervousness would have dissipated, say, with Paul McCartney. I don't know if I would have even have been able to pick up my guitar without shaking like a leaf, Yeah. So yeah, of course, Paul would be great, but then I would probably, had the opportunity arisen, I might have said no. I don't think I could do it. It's just too much reverence.
Yeah.
So that's just gonna say, like, with the obviously you got into the music business way back when, and like obviously with the evolution of technology, with the evolution of the world and that sort of thing, like how have you managed to be like a massive mainstay with that thing? How have you developed and adjusted with it?
Well, I mean, the technology, you mean?
Oh, just music, the music industry in general, just the whole thing, as we've gone through, like you went through disco.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, when I started out, when, first entering professionally into it and making records and so on, the business model was, I mean, not without its sort of dodgy, dark corners, but it was pretty simple. You wrote a song, it got recorded, the album sold, people went to the store, into the record store, bought the vinyl, took it home, and 6 months later, maybe a year later, your royalty would wind its way through all the systems and channels, and you'd get paid. So that was a fairly simple, understandable business model. All these years later, I couldn't describe the business model of Spotify to you if you held a gun to my head. I have no idea how anything works. I mean, I keep hearing, without any personal way to confirm, that would like a 1 million streams and you get like $30. I don't know if that's true or what it is. I don't even know, to be honest. So to answer your question, I have no clue about the music business in 2024. And even way back in the day, I think I knew maybe 80% of what went on back in the 70s and 80s, but today, no clue, none whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a complicated. We speak to a lot of young up and coming bands on this show, and a lot of them, they still have to have full-time careers because it's just so hard to actually make it to a level in the music industry nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, my son is in a band. He's doing quite well, but they tour a lot. They get quite a bit of their income from touring. Not, they get streams and so on, and they sell a little bit of physical product, but touring is where it is.
It does seem to be the way. Touring and merchandise, yeah.
Yeah, merch. Yeah, merch.
But as like I mentioned, then we speak to a lot of younger bands. What advice would you give to like people that want to get into songwriting, to like really want to pursue this like you have, be the next Jim Vallance?
I think you really have to just always have your antenna up. Just listen and learn. I mean, what goes in is eventually what comes out, you know. And again, back to our previous point, you just have to be careful that if what comes in when it goes out, it's not the same as what you heard, or then you're in trouble. So, yeah. But it's like your brain's like a giant blender, you know, when you just press the button and all these things that you've always experienced or heard or enjoyed kind of swirl around, and then you use it to fuel your creativity. So, I mean, the main thing, and again, the people who I said never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. I think what people don't understand is how much work it is. How really you can be really talented and even have great ideas, but if you don't put in the time, and then put in the time to write the song, and then put in the time to listen to it and go, is this as good as it can be? And then put in the time to make it better, and then know when it's done and when it's ready. I used to use the analogy like, say, Da Vinci painting Mona Lisa, would have taken him, I'm sure, days and days and days, and who knows, weeks and weeks and weeks. But there was a point where he went, it's done. And he knew when it was done. And if he had kept going, he might have ruined it, So you also need to know when that's happened. And I had that experience several times. One time in particular, I was collaborating with another young artist. This is way, way back. And she was one of those who didn't really get it, never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. But the two of us wrote a song, and I said, it's done. And we recorded it, and I was happy with it. And she went away to record it, and her producer, who was also a songwriter, decided to add his few bits. And so it's like if Da Vinci had kept going, it wouldn't have been the Mona Lisa. So they took what I thought was a finished song, and they took it up to the top of the hill and then kind of down the other side. So there's all kinds of skills involved, and they're not all necessarily to do with talent. It's to do with the ability to almost view yourself from above, like get out of your own body, look down at the work you're doing, and then be prepared to police yourself and criticize yourself and judge your work, and then go back into your body and do what's needed. So yeah, it's perspective, but at the core of it, it's hard work. It really is just putting in the time.
And I hope any young songwriters listening to this took every single bit down as notes, then, because you're learning from a master. But as we start wrapping this up, we've spoken about some of the biggest hits you've recorded. What are maybe a couple of the songs that you've had out there that maybe don't get as much love as you think they deserve? The ones that like you're extra proud of that don't get mentioned.
Oh gosh, I mean, again, just in terms of my so-called success, I mean, I've probably written, it started thousands, and you don't always finish a song. You start it, you don't always finish it. So I've probably started thousands and finished hundreds, and had maybe 20 big hits. So if you think about hundreds of songs, 20 hits, but in any realm, that's not much of a track record, But if that was in professional sports, I'd be off the team by now. If that was my record. But aside from the 20 big ones you know about, there were lots of ones that just went on albums. Like you've never heard the song, Back Where You Started by Tina Turner, but it was on an album that sold 10 million copies, and you go along for the ride, and it's actually, quite profitable. So I've had lots and lots of those songs you've never heard of, but were on albums that did well. I mean, I'd have to really think about it, but Bryan and I were asked to write a song years ago for a South African animated film about a dog. So apparently there's a famous dog in South Africa named Jock. There's children's books, and they did an animated film. And Bryan and I wrote this song called By Your Side. about the dog. It was in the film. And my dog at the time, I had a golden retriever named Charlotte. She was just wonderful, wonderful friend. And so I was like, as Brian and I were writing the song, I was thinking, what would Charlotte want to say, you know? And and the song is the dog talking to its owner, you know, by your side, you're my favorite friend. Until the end, I can't remember the lyrics offhand, but I think that's just, again, a song you never in 1,000 years would have heard of, but it's a personal favorite of mine. I think it's just because it is so personal.
I like that. That's awesome. Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guests?
I do. I think it must feel incredible to know that your music and your lyric, and your songs have made a lasting impact on the world and will still make a lasting impact on the world years and years down the line. It must be an unbelievable feeling. But when you first started this journey, did you ever think this is where you'd be today?
Couldn't have envisioned it. No. I mean, all I wanted to do was, I think, prove my mother wrong and make enough to pay my rent, you know? And sure, there was this shining example, you know, the Beatles and the Stones and you know, the ones that inspired you and made you want to do what you did and kind of kept you going and kept you inspired. But it's such a long, slow climb. In fact, I feel sorry for any artists that have a huge hit right out of the gate, you know, and then what? You know, I think there's a lot to be said for a very long, slow climb because each rung of the ladder is so difficult to achieve and so appreciated when you do. And then here I am 50 years later. I can look back on all that and you know, there's much to be proud of and much to be grateful for. And that's really how I feel about it. Sometimes I look at the list that you probably looked at and I go, oh my God, really? When did I have time to write all those songs? You know? But again, it's just, you know, you give a guy a guitar, lock him in a room for 50 years and, you know, something's bound to come from it.
And it absolutely did. But
and that's my story.
And it's an incredible start. I think you should write a book, to be honest. You've got some fantastic stories.
Writing a book would be a whole other thing.
I'll write a song about it. It's easier.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Jim, any plugs, social medias, websites, any projects you've got coming up you want to promote, whatever it may be?
I mean, I've just got my website that I'm always kind of poking away at. It kind of is my book. I mean, there's stories on there, you know, about each song and so on. JimVallance.com, easy to find. But yeah, I'm not much on social media. I don't really have any other like TikTok or whatever. Again, it's like Spotify. You know, my son knows more about all of this than I do. I'm a little out of the loop.
Brilliant. Just quickly, you mentioned your son in your band a little bit. What's your son's band?
It's called Bob Moses, and they're electronic dance band. They're really good. I'm really proud of him. He's also worked hard. I mean, I gave him the memo early on when he decided he was going to go into the music business. I didn't discourage him. Quite the opposite. I encouraged him, but warned him it's really hard work, you know. And he's totally been willing from day one. He's 35 now. He was maybe 14 or 15 when he got the bug and decided that's what he wanted to do. And of course, as a parent, I did everything I could to encourage him and support him. And then over to him. You can't do it for someone else. So he put in the hours and the work, and he still works very, very hard, very dedicated. And I like what they're doing. I mean, electronic dance music isn't necessarily my cup of tea, but I have a lot of respect and admiration for what they've accomplished. Good band.
Unless it's DJ Sammy.
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much for taking the time out and chatting to us today. It's meant the absolute world. It really has. It's been amazing hearing your stories.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
But Jim, thank you so much. Like, we massively appreciate your time and really enjoyed talking to you. And hopefully down the line we could do this again.
Please. Pleasure's mine.
Absolutely. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day. You take care of yourself. All right.
Cheers.
Take care, Jim.
Bye-bye. Yeah, what an interview that was. That was something truly special. We hope that you all enjoyed that, especially you Bryan Adams fans. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast. we're back with another edition. Jamie, when did traffic become a nightmare? Because as far as I'm concerned, I've never dreamt about it. So the amount of times that people have come in and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare. Could you imagine someone asleep just like, oh no, it's double parked. Like, oh my God, at the M1, it's got 3 lanes shut. Do you know what I mean? I've never ever dreamt about traffic being a nightmare.
I've never heard anyone say it the opposite either. Like they've got somewhere really early and go, "Oh, traffic was a dream."
Yeah, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that a few
Have
times.
you actually heard that? Okay, I've never heard
Yeah.
that.
Oh wait, there were nothing. There were nothing out there. It was unbelievable. It's like The Walking Dead. I get that told that quite a lot.
Yeah, I said lots of zombies apparently.
Yeah, it's just so funny. It's like, oh, traffic was a nightmare. It's like I've never dreamt about traffic.
Oh my God, I've got the hiccups.
So, like, oh, the M5's closed because of an accident, bastards. Yeah. Oh, God. I dreamt they were building a dual carriageway down towards Chesham. Oh.
I love when you do these examples, you always come out with the most random locations across the oh my God, across the UK.
So I was having this thought as well. I was out with Paul on Sunday, having coffee, and I got introduced to his new daughter because they've adopted. And he was about Peppa Pig. And I was like, Peppa Pig is like the kid version of the Demon Headmaster.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Peppa Pig could say or do whatever the fuck she wanted, and kids would do it.
Yep, and gets no repercussions. I
Yeah.
hate that fucking pig.
A lot of people do, but our
Yeah.
kids. Could you imagine fucking like, oh, Peppa's at home today with her brother, the mummy, and the daddy. Always driving uphill. Weirdly,
Yeah.
why are they always driving uphill? Never flat. It's always up a hill.
No,
And with the weight of those 4 pigs and that car, there's no way they're getting up there.
no.
Anyway, it's like today they're eating Mr. Rabbit. Oh,
What?
yeah, that's literally what it could be like. And people are like, "Oh, I think I'll eat my pet tonight." Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like she's secretly. There must be like some hint. It's literally like Ivan Etniage from The Simpsons, the Peppa Pig thing.
It's a bit of what?
Ivan Etniage from The Simpsons. Ivan Etniage. No,
Don't remember that.
Join the Navy, NSYNC episode.
Oh, I think I might have a vague recollection.
Oh, get out of it. Get in the bin.
It's been
Get
a
in
while
the
since I watched
absolute bin.
Simpsons, actually.
Justin Timberlake comes in. I can't believe I'm meeting Millhouse. Word.
I can't believe I'm eating Millhouse. Word.
So good.
Here's that bit of going.
Yeah, that's what he does. Word. And then every time they walk into a room, it's like dim, 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 and they do this dancing. This is really so good, so good. But yeah, so they made a boy band out of Nelson, Ralph, Milhouse, and Bart, called the Party Posse. And basically, it was a whole recruitment drive for people to join the Navy. And they're like, "Oh, I just want to join the Navy for some reason." I reckon Peppa Pig is that version of that, where it's like it's secretly got hidden messages and it's mind washing people and that sort of thing.
A, I think I remember that now, actually. And B, absolutely agree with you. There's something about that program that kids love, and I don't get it because it's not entertaining. It's fucking spoiled, bratty children, and yeah, I don't get it, and it's just awful.
Aren't they literally episodes like about a puddle, and about a zoo, and about eating, and about sharing, and like crap like that? You're like, this is,
And Mrs. Rabbit has
got
every job.
I got to series 16, episode 7. I was like, I've had enough of this.
I thought I better watch a couple just to make sure.
Yeah, to make sure there's nothing hidden in there. But about season 27, I was like, no, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, awful program.
So I also had this thought. So we were talking about random ass foods. I think we were talking about it was Oreo Coke.
Oh,
We were talking about Oreo Coca-Cola. I am now going to bring my own to the table, Jamie Westwood.
Oh, okay, because I also have something to bring to the table. This should be interesting.
What, in this sort of...
Yeah.
I bet it's the same fucking thing. What do you reckon it's the same fucking thing?
This would be quite funny if it is.
Halloween have released the scarily good Monster Munch pickled onion mayonnaise.
I mean that.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to bring. That's fucking brilliant.
What the fuck? Of course you've got it.
Oh, mate, I saw it in the shop and I was like, I love me a novelty food.
What is the bet that it tastes like fucking mayonnaise?
No, it actually tastes like pickled onion Monster Munch mayonnaise. It actually tastes like what it should. I was surprised.
I mean, why do you want that on your chips?
I had it on a burger earlier. It was nice.
I mean, onion burger kind of works.
Yeah.
But they need to stop doing this.
I brought it because I just needed to know it's me and I love a novelty food. But I got home with it and I was like saying to Becky, we need to try this. And I was like, what the fuck do you eat pickled onion Monster Munch mayonnaise with? What meal does that match?
But, well, clearly burger.
But yeah.
I love that you think you're a fucking pioneer. You think you're changing lives and, like changing the world because you're trying some randomly flavored item that doesn't mean to be that flavor normally.
No, I've got to do the research for the show. It's all for the show. I've got to get the content.
Bollocks.
That's what it is.
Bollocks. Absolute bollocks. I've never heard such shit in my life. But annoyingly, I found this post 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, there you are then.
And I've completely forgotten to bring it to the table both times. But
that was really good timing then, because I only brought that yesterday, so it's really good timing to wait.
Oh, well, there you are then. There you fucking are then.
But no, it is actually it's nice. Like, but I can't describe it. I can't describe why it's nice or anything. It's really odd. But I do recommend giving it a try. I know you won't, but I'd recommend it.
So you've had fucking raspberry ripple lemonade, whatever the fuck it was.
Raspberry ripple or Iron Brew.
That makes me so angry straight away. Fucking Brussels sprout cheese.
Oh yeah, your favourite.
Oreo Coke.
Yep.
And now you've got pickled onion mayo.
Yep.
No. I don't know why I do the show with you sometimes.
Brussels sprout cheese sandwich with that on top of it. Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I bet you'll feel like you'll get a right throb on fucking talking. That'll be a Facebook post later. Everyone will be fucking loving that.
Throb on.
Fuck's sake. Have you ever had a moment in life where you've done something and you know that it will never happen ever again? You know, a moment where you just like, I don't know, you catch a straw on the tip of your tongue because you happen to just flick it off a kitchen table and you're like, and no one saw it.
I can't think of an example, but I do know what you mean. It has happened, but I can't think what it was off the top of my head.
No? So, I was making a cup of tea. This is last week. I was making a cup of tea and I had my headphones in, but they're wired because I don't, AirPods, no. It's not I don't want to get with the times. I just, the idea of that just makes me feel a bit ill because, like, how do you know they're in your ear still?
Fair.
Anyway, if it comes out with a wire on it, it just swings. You're like, cool. There it is. Put that back in. Anyway, I imagine obviously if you had music on, you'd know it was missing. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. People who walk around them in is the new Lee Evans Bluetooth knobhead joke.
Now, I don't know if you can see what I got sticking out of my ear. Bluetooth, yeah?
I can't see if you see what's in my ear right now. Got it. iPhone, AirPods, yeah. Anyway, so I was making a cup of tea, and I went to put the milk lid back on the milk, and I twisted a bit too quick, and it spun off and flicked off. And I was looking, going, "Where the fuck?" It didn't even make a noise. I was like, "Where the fuck has that gone?" Like, I couldn't find it. Do you know what happened? My headphone wire had a little circle in it, and it had landed flush.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, no one saw that. So I could be talking bullshit. It genuinely happened, but no one saw it, and it was literally within the wire, like wrapped around. I was like, how?
That's impressive.
How? Have I literally moved at the time to like tighten it as it went through? There's no way that's ever going to happen ever again.
That is really impressive. I'm not going to lie.
It's what it smells like. There's no one. God damn it.
It's always the way. It's always when there's no one there to talk about it to. And if you do tell someone, like, yeah, all right, mate, sure.
Yeah, well, I imagine people watching this and going, of course he did. Of course he did. Like them fucking trick shot videos that you watch on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram of where they flip the card, they throw the dart with the cup at the same time, then piss flies out of this, and God's there like, wonderful. Literally, I bet that took 15,000 fucking takes. It's not a trick shot. That's a I'll get there eventually shot.
I remember watching a video, this one guy, fair play to him, he was like, I'm not going to get this first time, but I'm going to keep trying until I do this. I think it's like, attempt 152. I was like, finally got it. I was like, thank you, I admire the honesty. Fair play.
Exactly,
fair
exactly. Play. But there was a moment at university, I think I've talked about this before. I was in my halls with my flatmate George, and we were arguing, not arguing like actually arguing, we were just taking the piss out of each other, I think. And he was telling me a story. I was sat at the kitchen table with my back to the door, and he was sat on the sofa facing me. Tell me a story, and I was like, no fucking way, dude. He goes, no, I swear to God. I was like, no, come on, let's be really weird. No, I swear on the Bible, which was in front of me. So I grabbed it and flung it behind, went, fuck the Bible, threw it while we're still chatting, straight in the bin. The only reason I know is because his face just went, no fucking way. The bin was quite a way behind me as well. I just went, oh, fuck the Bible, fuck. And then they just started talking, do you know what I mean? Straight in the bin.
That's impressive.
Amazing. At least he saw that one, though.
I only know it went in because the heavens opened, God came down and went, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's literally what happened.
That's quite impressive.
Howard from the Halifax adverts popped in and was like, unbelievable. Do you know you can make some real good savings at Halifax?
Halifax, what a reference.
I wonder what he's doing now. Do you reckon he's a traitor? He's gone to fucking TSB or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because wasn't he actually a branch manager? And it just sort of went.
I think so.
Kind of exploded.
I did. Make sure no one sees him. I did. Where's he gone? He's at Lloyd's now, the bastard. We'll have him eventually. It's like all the banks have a massive fight like an Anchorman.
I want to
with Mason chains and shit. I'm Barclays through and through, so you know.
Same.
Represent.
Had that account since I was 12.
Oh, okay. I've not been there that long. 5 years I've been there. After HSBC with their consistent, we're going to charge you because we're going to charge you for that. We're going to charge you for that as well. It's like, I got no money left. I can't. All these fucking you haven't paid for your charges. Yeah, I've got no fucking money. I can't. Why are you charging me, you bastards? Anyway,
how about I charge you?
Yeah. How about I burn your... No, I'm joking. How you doing anyway? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty tired because stupid early shifts. So I have to wake up at 4:15 in the morning. But yeah, other than that, I'm good.
Them.
Yeah, them.
Yeah.
4:30
wake ups. Woo!
I hate them so much.
Hey, I go to bed like 3 hours before you get up.
I know. I like them in the sense because I finish at 2 and I get loads of my day to myself. But I'm knackered for that time I'm there awake. So yeah.
You get loads of day to yourself just fucking drifted off. Daddy, fuck off.
That was literally earlier. I was cuddled up with Olivia. She was like, watch this video with me, Daddy. Okay. Like, wake up.
She just spins around. Well done. Why do you put kids' shitty artwork on the fridge? Oh my God, is that me? Oh yeah, why am I £15,000?
No, I've only got one piece of artwork on the fridge, actually. That's been
Why is it stick men?
Actually, I think it's Lena's. I don't think it's Olivia's.
Oh my days, dude. Okay. Unreal. I'm all right. I'm tired, but I'm all right. We should massively apologise. Callum is not here this week. We asked for the treaches, but he has not fulfilled his duty of recording 3 7-second videos. So, unbelievable. You think you know someone?
You see that bus over there, Callum? Get the fuck under there.
Unreal. I don't care if you've got your own business, a really busy life, and a wonderful partner, and a house together. Fuck you.
He's too busy sweeping pine needles. That's what it is. He's just too busy dealing with pine needles.
Have you got them delivered yet? I fancy for Halloween going as a porcupine. I've actually ordered fresh needles that are blown off in that storm. That storm last week was fucking insane.
Oh, right.
For Britain, you're like it was almost like Armageddon was coming because it just went black, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on at 4 in the afternoon?"
Yeah, weather's been bonkers.
Yeah, global warming's not real. What the fuck's that? But yeah, what's been going on with your week, man? What's been happening? Anything fun? Rihanna in?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy actually. I've been Rihanna, of course, because got to get that money in. I
Want to go straight back out again?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, look, that's lovely. See you later. See you next month. Take care. I'll see you soon when you come back round again.
No, I really
enjoyed that meal. It was lovely. Thank you. I'll eat later. Cheers. See you later. Dinner. Yeah, perfect. I'll eat next year. Guess I'm living off cereal and soup for the rest of this month.
You live off cereal anyway.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of people have been getting terribly. A lot of people have been telling me off for it.
Really?
Yeah, they know who they are.
No, I took Sam to his first ever gig on Saturday, which was really fun. Bless him. Not normally his style of music, but he wanted to go, so I took him, and we had an absolute blast. I took him to go see Cannibal Corpse. He would pick for his first gig a gig that started at 5:30 and went on till just before 11 o'clock. It was a long old afternoon, but fair play, he absolutely loved it. First band on was Schizophrenia. I'd never heard them before. They were pretty good, actually. I quite enjoyed those. And he enjoyed them as well, which I wasn't expecting, but there we are. Second band, Immolation, wasn't a fan.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't like something. Shocking, I know.
Calm down. Right,
yes. I told you I don't like everything.
Are we still on Earth? Are we still here? Are we still alive right now? Can people tell me no? Like, are we still...
See? Told you I don't like everything.
Am I in Twilight Zone?
You are.
Who are you?
I'm sure they were very good at what they do, but I just wasn't a fan of what they do.
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
It was like... like you got the death metal that's like proper slow. There's a dun dun dun. I was like, fuck me, this is just tedious now. Please get this done. This is not.
I've just imagined, like in cartoons where something magically appears, that one of your bollocks has come back.
Fuck. And then Municipal Waste was on afterwards, and they were superb. I've seen them before. They are so much fun. Like, just keep constant song after song after song, and so high energy. I'm amazed that crowd had any energy left for the headliners at all. And then, of course, Cannibal Corpse, which were great fun. Like, fair play to them. There's not a lot of talking. They just crack on. But Corpse Grinder is such a lovely guy. He's like stops us. He's handing out water bottles to the crowd. He's just having fun with everyone. Yeah, no, really good fun. Not my normal sort of music I listen to regularly, but it was fun. It was a nice evening. Apart from one dickhead that was just spoiling it for people. Because
always one, mate. Right, so there's always one. And why are they always next to us?
Oh yeah. Well, this guy was fucking moving. You get told off by security, and then he moved to somewhere else. One of those times he just had to be right in front of us, and me and Sam had to move so we could see. Because Sam's underage, we had to sit in the balcony. I've never sat in the balcony for a gig before. It was weird. But it was pretty cool getting to look down on the mosh pits. I was like, that's really quite weird, bird's eye view of it all. But this guy just, because in the balcony, you have to sit down. Like, it literally signs there as a no standing. This guy stood right at the front of the balcony, filming every song by every band on his fucking phone. And the security's like constantly, sit the fuck down. And he's like, ugh. And then you get back up again. I was like, oh, will you piss off, mate? Doing my head in. And he eventually left. I was like, he's gone. And I looked over and I was like, no, he's just over there now. He's still going. What a dick.
Why do people do that?
Fuck knows. I get like the odd couple of like 30 seconds as a momentum every now and again, but
this would be great for my YouTube channel with 2 subscribers. My mum and my dad.
Pretty much.
Yeah, prick.
So just enjoy it, mate. Fucking hell. But yeah. It was a great night, and then the following day, we took Sam and Lena to go and watch Beetlejuice, which was really fun. It didn't have the same vibe as the first one. I don't know how to explain it.
Do you know what I like, Jamie?
But it was really
because leave them alone. Why'd you make a second one for?
Yeah,
Anna's gonna fucking kill me for this, but I don't care. Leave old movies the fuck alone. You don't need to make another one. Oh shit. What we're gonna do? We've run out of all of our original ideas. We've made about 15,000 Godzilla films. We don't need any more of them. Hold on, mate. Let's make the Goonies 2. Why?
Yeah, that one I do not get.
Let's make Beetlejuice again. Why? I don't get it. What are you making it for? What happened to these standalone movies now? Why does everything have to have a fucking sequel?
Doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Oh, do you know what?
That made a shit ton of money. Let's do it again.
Jurassic Park. I think we've had enough of that now. I think, well, what we'll do is do another 3, make it with Chris Pratt, and then we'll finish it. Do you know what? Fuck it, I'll make a 4th.
I was going to say they're doing more.
Yeah. Boring. Boring. Get in the bin.
Yeah.
I just don't understand this whole need to bleed franchises dry. Oh, people love dinosaurs. Yeah, but pretty much Jurassic World was mirrored Jurassic Park.
Fair enough. People love dinosaurs. Make a new dinosaur film.
We've invented this new super raptor T-Rex that swims and flies and eats absolutely everything and never stops eating because it's hungry all the time. It's unbeatable. The T-Rex is here. Oh, it's dead. Oh, okay. Well, what happened there? I don't know. I got bored of writing the story, to be honest with you. Just thought, fuck it. T-Rex can come save the day. Everyone will have a wank over it. It'll be fine. No one will question the fucking plot. We'll just make the T-Rex eat it. Fuck it.
I can't judge them because I know why they do it, because it works. Because it does work. That bit at the end of the first Jurassic World, I'll never forget. That as soon as you went open Paddock 9, me and Becky squeezed each other's hands that hard out of excitement because we knew who was coming. It works. It works.
Maybe I'm just a cynical fucker, but
I think so. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Let's get some fucking originality going. The movie thing is just dying off. Yeah, it's just all fucking superheroes now. Superheroes and sequels.
Pretty much. It's one of them. I don't know why they do it. They don't need to do it, but they are fun. So I do, and they make money. So I get it.
Yeah, but not for us. Don't make money for us, is it? No.
In the movie business.
Exactly. So when businesses have targets, you must hit this target. Why? I'm not going to benefit from it. Why should I do it? Yeah, sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form there, Jamie. I do apologise.
No, at all. Yeah,
if anybody made feel uncomfortable whatsoever, then I massively apologise about it. So, you can't say you have to go elsewhere to tell other people, then they come to me and tell me instead.
You can make them feel uncomfortable instead.
Yeah, pricks.
But I enjoyed the film anyway, even though it wasn't needed. I did enjoy it. Apart from one part of the story was utterly pointless. Do not understand why it was there. Wasn't needed. But yeah, it was good fun. And we did an incredible interview last night that you've all just listened to and hopefully enjoyed. And now we're here. Okay.
Wonderful.
What about you, my friend?
It's not as thrilling or as exciting as that. I went and saw Anna. I went over to Anna's for dinner on Thursday. We chilled, listened to tunes. It was really nice. Had Mexican food. It was just really lovely. Really enjoyed that. Massive, tremendous win. Wonderful evening. Excuse me, sorry. Been Rihanna-ing, of course. That's not been very exciting at all in any way, shape, or form. At all. But if it made you feel uncomfortable, I'm really sorry. And then
just got it.
What else have I been doing? NFL Sunday. The Steelers lost this weekend. I lost in fantasy as well. We were doing so well. We went 17-0 down in the first quarter. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Clawed it back and lost 27-24. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So just a bit of a shame that we just left it too little too late. Fantasy, I was getting fucking dicked. And I clawed it right back and lost by 5 points. And I was looking, and my running back, Breece Hall, normally scores fucking loads. But the rain in New Jersey didn't help. And my quarterback was just not that great. So if they'd actually performed, I would have won again. So it's just one of those things. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. So 3-1. I'm second now in the fantasy. And Steelers are still top of the division. So at least we have that. At least we have that. Today's been a weird day. Today, I dispensed and saw my former best, closest friend from school. It was weird.
I bet.
Yeah, we were just chatting, and he was like, "I'm still a fucking idiot." It's like, "Oh, well, you're not." But it was really weird. It was just nice to catch up quickly, in a way. Like we're chatting for ages. He's the reason I got into the NFL, which is quite nice. We talked about that for a while. He genuinely has a tattoo of Austin Eckler on his thigh.
I don't know who that is, but fair
the Washington Commanders running back. So because he came bottom, he had to have a forfeit, and he went to Portugal and got Austin Eckler's face tattooed on his thigh.
Fucking brilliant. That's great.
Because that was obviously his first draft pick from last year. This year was Christian McCaffrey, CMC, has been injured and is out for most of this year. And he's like, well, Christian's going to look really nice next to Austin.
Dare I ask why he had to go all the way to Portugal to get it?
I think there was a lad's holiday thing.
Okay, I was going to say.
But like, he's been married and divorced and shit, and he's had fucking kids, and I'm just sat here like, wow, there we are. Because obviously I feel like I've done nothing with my life so far. It's weird. Not in a sense of like, you know, how society deems you must have a house and you must get married and you must do this. Like, I've done none of that.
Everyone's life was the same. It'd be a bit.
Well, no, I know. I don't mean to get deep on this fucking show. Do apologize. It was just a thought that came into my head. But other than that, dude, not a whole ass of a lot was really going on, to be honest with you. We did, like you said, we did the great interview last night with Jim, which you all heard at the beginning of this show. And we plod on. I bought my Defects tickets for the show in November, which I'm very excited about. Are you coming?
I'm still waiting to hear back.
Oh, of course you are. Like I say, fuck all going on. There were some really good shows this weekend that I really wanted to go to and didn't. Record the Remains obviously was on in Wolverhampton. I want to go to that. Broken Jaw played The Frog on Saturday night as well, doing their album show. And there was that what's it called? The hometown show in Derbyshire, in Derby, the Hairy Dog.
Yeah.
The name has completely escaped me. I'm so sorry. Where like Raiders played, Lost to Light played, Beyond a Design played for the last time ever. Tropic Gold played. Like, it was just like loads of delicious bands playing in Derby. But I went and saw my sister.
Oh, there you go.
On Saturday night.
This time.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And my brother-in-law sat me down and he went, mate, right, listen to me, right? I was like, oh God, what? He went, I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't get pissed off. I was like, talk to me, Ash, what's going on? He went, I think I made the best enchiladas I've ever made last weekend. I was like, no, don't tell me. And he was like, your mum came over and was just like, I'll only eat one. Like, he's going, where's Tom? Fucking need to smash all this. My sister's going, it's a bit spicy, I don't like it. Yeah, and he's like, this is wasted. Tom would have smashed this by now.
Oh.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted. I saw Paul. I met his newly adopted daughter on Sunday for coffee. That was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that. And we had lunch at fucking John Lewis. Our breakfast even. Oh my God. So you could tell it's fucking John Lewis when the plate turned up and it looked like it should have just been like a fucking cube of all-day breakfast. One sausage, one bacon, one hash brown, an egg, some little tiny pot of beans, a tomato and a mushroom. What's the fucking point? 10 quid that?
What?
I was starving.
I was surprised. That was a nice starter. Where's the next bit?
Yeah, I literally put it in front of me and I went, cool, where's the rest? Like, I don't get this fine dining bullshit.
Was it nice at least?
It was cold.
Oh, man.
Bullshit.
Oh.
We have to represent our name, so you get fuck all for expensive. It's expensive as shit, and you'll get fuck all for it. Okay, yes, because we are greedy Tory bastards. Yeah, so we need to make sure that we get all the money, and you get fuck all for what you pay for.
We have to take as much money as we can, so we can make a nice Christmas advert to make the whole nation cry. No doubt. Yes, that's.
I saw some Tory scumbag today say something about people get paid too much in child benefit and the minimum wage is a burden on businesses. Oh, fuck off.
Fuck off.
I know, like, a burden? Fuck you. Go and die in a hole somewhere. Fuck me. And we want to make sure that all the peasants get fuck all. Let's go back to Victoria. Let's throw scraps of chicken out of our windows. Oh, want a bit of food? Are you a bit hungry, are you? When you come to this into my face, I'll fucking knock you out, you bitch. Like, who the fuck thinks this up?
Fuck knows.
Oh, I've woken up. Good to be a twat today. So excited.
Yeah, I've never understood that mentality. I'm going to wake up and be an asshole to strangers today. That's my day sorted.
Makes no fucking sense.
Not.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Braden from Say We Can Fly. Just letting you know, got a brand new merch store out there.
Please let me say the link. Let me say the link, please.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yes, you can say the link. Yes, all right.
Okay.
So the link for the shop.
So the link for the shop is www.saywecanfly.shop.
All right, good job, Seamus. So www.saywecanfly.shop. 10% off if you use the code.
Let me say the code. Let me say the code, please.
Okay, fine. You can say the code. If you use the code.
The code is The Chronicles.
What? No, it's not.
The Chronicles.
No, it's not. It's The Chronicles, Seamus.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The Chronicles at checkout, all right? You get 10% off.
10% off?
Yes, they know. They know, Seamus. Okay?
I'm just trying to help, all right?
Visit www.saywecanfly.shop and use code The Chronicles for 10% off your order. Available at participating Say We Can Fly restaurants and web stores. Some restrictions may apply, but probably not.
Anyway, let's cheer up. It's time for Tom's Journal. And welcome to another edition of Tom's Journal. Right. I think you're going to love this. Darth Vader. I killed 3 planets. Thanos. I killed half the universe. Voldemort. Well, like, I almost killed this kid once. 7 times. Thanos. A kid. Really? Darth Vader. Wow. Voldemort. Look, you don't know the power of a mother's love, okay?
That's what I love about films like that. Is like, in the context of the film, there is no bigger bad guy, and then you look at the context of every other film, and like, hey, he's a bit fucking shit, isn't he? You no-nose prick.
Oh, I feel this. Jamie, we should get cake.
Yeah.
Why? What's the occasion? Oh, I've been so stressed.
I completely go with that. I'm a comfort eater. That's how I got fat again. I go with that. It's fine.
I find it amazing how no one just buys a birthday cake just because.
Right.
Yes. Oh, no. I must abide by the law. That says birthday on it. Nobody here has got a birthday. Fuck, it's my birthday every day. Bollocks to it. Oh.
Because I don't know about you. This might just be the fat person in, but I've been in the shop and I've gone, that cake looks fucking good. And then I'm like, I haven't got an occasion to eat it though, so I don't buy it. I'm like, I could just buy it because I want it.
Yeah.
Like, what's stopping me, really?
We earn money now. Yeah, we earn money now. We can have things.
I don't think the cashier's going to go, whose birthday is it?
Yeah, exactly.
What day is it on? You could just buy the cake.
I do believe, by my watch here, your birthday's in July. What are you doing? It's fucking October. Oh, yeah, that'd be hilarious. That's okay. Alarm start going off like, shit, I've been caught. I wonder if I'll ever stop saying, oh, they're in my year. When I explain how old someone is. We're probably not in school anymore, but I can't fucking help it. We all do it. Oh, they're in my year.
They're in my year at school, they were, yeah. Oh, I remember them. Year below me at school. I guess.
Hey, remember when Shrek used his giant green hands to take the helmet off his giant green head, and Fiona was shocked that he turned out to be an ogre?
Oh, yes. No one questioned it, though, because it's Shrek, so it can do what the fuck it likes.
Yeah, exactly. They can't really make another one of them as well. Like, no, stop it.
Oh, fuck, they are, aren't they? I forgot that. Oh,
stop it.
No.
Hello, mate. What's wrong with Robert's phone? Oh, he's in jail. Get the fuck out of here. Why for? Yep. Got caught banging some chick behind a dumpster. What the fuck? Yeah, some messed up hooker. You're bullshitting. Yeah, I have no idea who Robert is. You've got the wrong number. Oh, so good.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Oh,
I wish my brain worked that fast if I ever got wrong number calls.
That was a text message, but yeah, that would have been so absolutely unbelievable. Oh, so you won a gold medal at the Olympics, did you? La-dee-da. My watch just congratulated me for standing up.
used to make me laugh, and like your steps counter on your phone. It's like, well done, you've done your 10,000 steps today, or whatever it is. I'm like, someone ran a fucking marathon today. I just about achieved the amount of steps my phone thinks I should do.
Or when your watch goes, time to stand up. Okay.
That's how long I've been sat there.
Congratulations, you've done it. Oh, so weird. Jamie, if you think about the vastness of space and how enormous our galaxy is and how big our planet is and just how small we are, I'm not really eating that much cheese.
Not where I saw that going.
Oh, fuck me.
That was beautiful.
Oh, so good. Oh. I thought the B&Q one's still one of my favourite ones doing that, though. Oh, so funny. Probably the most traumatic part of Mum having a little fall today. I was on the phone to 111. They were like, "Who are you calling for?" And I said, "My mum." And she's like, "Okay, lovely. And what's your name then?" And I said, "Olivia." And then she went, "Okay, Olivia. And is there a grown-up with you?" And I just said, "Well, no, but I am 29." And she went, "Oh, right, okay. Sorry." Well. It isn't me writing all the things from last week's to-do list on this week's to-do list.
I remember doing that at a job once. I can't remember what it was, but I'd written my list for the week before to start the new week. I was like, "Ah, shit, I've still got all of last week's stuff to do."
Do you know what I think is a really dumbass question in interviews? So, how do you prioritize your workload?
Oh,
well, I'll just do whatever needs doing first. That's the most with the biggest priority, and then I'll just work from there. Right. But unless I'm in that environment and doing that thing, I don't really know how to explain that to you.
Yeah. The worst thing at job interviews, give me an example of when.
I remember B&Q grilling me once. And I was like, dude, like, get over yourself.
Oh.
You're being fucking Q. Like, no one's a shit. Anyway. Nico, if your ex was in my body and I was in your ex's body, who would you date? Amelia, look, no. Can you just go back and ask me again if I would love you if you were a worm again, please? It's so much easier.
Oh, I've never understood those things.
Oh, just what? I don't get them. I don't get them.
No.
Okay, mate, look, I need you to write a pickup line for me. Yeah, got you, bro. Girl, are you from Mississippi? Because you're the only miss whose piss I sippy. Minus 10,000 out of 10. Delete.
That might be the most disgusting chap I've ever in my life. Piss I sippy. Oh. I'm gonna end this journal on what I think is the most wonderfulest thing ever, and I just have a feeling that my mum would do the exact same thing. This is amazing on so many levels. This girl put, some fucking freak just messaged my mum on Instagram, and she replies with this: I can't deal with her. Someone messaged this girl's mum and put, hi sweetheart, can we fuck? The reply is, can't at the moment, love, I'm in Tesco's. That is the most perfect answer to that.
Oh my god, it's superb!
Oh, fuck me, that might be one of the greatest journal entries of all time.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. And I imagine my mum just probably just go, fuck off!
Oh, the legends that is your mum.
Oh, and that was another edition of Tom's journal.
Oh,
Two-parted because they cut out.
man. Oh, fucking beautiful. I can't right now. I'm in Tesco's.
I was like, all right now, love. I'm in Tesco. Oh my god!
I just want to know the conversation of how her daughter found out about that conversation.
Because her mum just went, "Look, this is weird. Have you seen this?" This weird message with this random man. Oh god, that's so good, so good.
That was fucking beautiful.
Oh.
Oh god. Oh, I do love the internet. As stupid as it is, it gives us gold.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the journal wouldn't exist without it.
Well, it's very true.
It's about getting into schools and talking to young people because, you know, I know that people can change. And it's about talking to people and getting them to understand and perhaps step back from violence and prejudice and whatever. And we just need to work together and keep on the good fight there.
Absolutely. Hey there, guys. We are ecstatically happy to announce that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
The times are changing, and with the unfortunate death of Sophie, those changes have made a massive impact for the future. If Sophie was with us still today, I can guarantee what you are doing will still be reaching so many lives of young teenagers, young adults, and those who wish to be as different as possible. So thank you very much.
To find out more about this incredible foundation and all the work they do, and more importantly, how you can help, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com. Mr. Stevens, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Stevens.
What song is that?
Son of 69.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It sounded better in my head.
I don't know why I just don't use the lyrics rather than I just put my name in it.
I don't know. I just
like I do.
And that's gimmick infringement.
Not really. Jamie hates everything about you, but I will, Jamie, love you.
Consider you always tell me that I don't hate anything. That's pretty ironic.
I know, right? Isn't it ironic, Jamie? Don't you think? Thanks for my song next week.
It's audience participation time. Do, 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 do.
Participate, bitch, motherfucker. Participate.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to participate in Jamie's participation challenge. This is 3 days grace now.
I was just about it's because I heard some stupid AI advert doing this is what your voice would sound like doing AI, and that was the song, and I was like, ooh, I haven't heard that in ages. So I listened to it earlier. That was all.
What a random pick for an AI advert to choose. Anyway.
I know.
Oh. This week, I said, we love to celebrate music on this show, but let's face facts, we all have that one song we can't fucking stand. So this week, we're asking, what's one song you wish you could delete from existence? What say you?
I don't really know, because I don't tend to be like, I just tend to turn it off. Do you know what I mean? Like or skip past it, or I mean, if anything, it would probably be like Interpol or some bollocks. I don't find that shit, but I don't listen to it. I like some indie bollocks. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd just delete Manson, I think.
Just him in general.
Yeah, just delete him.
Fair.
Even though he's my guest for the Bloodstock announcement, but still, I'd be like, nah.
Fair. So I have two for this. One is a really obscure Blondie song called Platinum Blonde. Because when I was younger, my mom's ex used to play it. and her voice used to go right through me. So every time we're in the car, he'd always put it on just to fucking wind me up. So that can get in the bin. Another one is Love Fool by the Cardigans, because the way she sings that chorus, the voice just goes right through me, and it just, it's like needles in my head.
Pretend that you love me.
Oh, it's the worst.
Leave me, it's my song for next week.
How many songs
I
are next
don't
week?
care about Jamie other than you. I don't know.
It's not. It's just a bit where she says "love me, love me." It just needles in my head.
I know what I think I'd have. I think I'd have Sixpence None the Richer. Kiss Me.
Oh yeah, that is quite an annoying song. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want it to kick in, and it never does. I think that's. I'm kind of like, yeah. Newfound Glory's version is really good, but I'm just like, yeah. Oh, okay, you gone back to normal again. Never mind.
I get what you mean.
Oh, Coldplay, Yellow. Shine for you. There was a guy in The Voice. I watched The Voice at my sister's house. Oh my god, it would just piss me off. He was Irish. And it, like, there's nothing to do with the Irish people at all. He just happened to be Irish, but he really tried to emphasize his accent in the vocals. It was really odd. What did he sing? I don't know what it was, but he's just like, but it was awful. I thought, anyway. That's my opinion on that. So I can't sing for shit. So I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's always that. That's what I love about things like this. Is I hate this song and get rid of them, but they've got more talent than I have because they made the fucking song in the
just
first
fucking
place.
armchair wankers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, fucking bollocks! Just my grand could do better. Although there was a grand on there that did fucking Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay.
Yeah, with the biggest build-up she ever got, I thought she's going to be amazing. There, she's going to be like, oh, I like bust this chair, and then Sugar Hill Gang started. I was like, what? The hip hop happy, you don't stop the. I was like, no. And then Danny Jones and fucking Tom Fletcher from McFly went, I just want to see what she looks like. I want to see if that's what I think it is. Whoa! I was like, no way.
Brilliant. Isn't there a film with an old lady singing?
Is there?
There is. I can't remember what the fucking song is. I could picture it in my head. I can't remember.
Hip hop, I hip it to the hip hip hop. You don't stop the rock to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie the beat.
I don't know. Anyway, let's get some audience answers. We've got Matt from Heavy Metal Therapy, former guest. Justin Bieber with that song Baby. Nails on the chalkboard for me. Get in the bin. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Matthew. Oh, there you go. Enjoy that.
We've got Birthday Boy, former guest from Moon Reaper, James McPhee, says, I got two. Non-metal, Oasis, Wonderwall.
Very overplayed.
Yeah. And metal, Dig by Mudvayne. I just never got it.
Oh, I love that song. My dad told me off having
is worth it.
My dad told me off having the lyrics on it as my MSN name.
Yes, we spoke about that the other week. Yeah.
Oh, do we? Yeah. But yeah, I love that track.
It's a good song. DJ Gove, Tainted Love, every single version, but especially the soft cell version.
Is that the original?
It isn't. Everyone thinks it's the original, but it actually isn't. The original version, I don't know who sings it, but it doesn't have the duh bit in it.
Oh, okay.
Soft cell put that in. So, there we go. Music knowledge. Becky Westwood, the wife's getting involved. Carly J. Repson, Call Me Maybe. It just simply gets on my nerves.
Oh, that's a tune. Sorry, don't agree. Hey, Becky, I just met you.
It's going to sing
and this is crazy. So here's my number. Don't ever fucking call me.
Oh, Alan Carr, either Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon or Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry. Says Sex on Fire because as it came out it was when I went to uni. Someone would put it on the jukebox and then someone else would turn up to the bar 15 minutes later and also put it on the jukebox, repeat until closing time.
The thing is, right, though, when it first came out, that song was a banger.
Everyone loved it, didn't they? Yeah.
Like Brightside. I think Mr. Brightside's coming up in this. I would imagine. I'd be amazed if it doesn't. But when that first came out, like they were huge. Everyone loved it. I don't think anybody could have despised or hated on it. Now I get it because it's overplayed. Now I get it completely. But
I just found it funny more than anything because I'm like, I remember Kings of Leon before this when they sang a song about like their granddad's bucket or some shit. I was like,
and he sounded like, now.
How is that the same band?
And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah. Like, oh.
Because everyone finds him sexy now. And I'm like, didn't he have like a really weird bowl cut and stuff before? Like, what? There we are. Richard Bashford. Anything by U2. In fact, just delete U2.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
James Parsons. It's not Mr. Brightside, but it's another one along those lines. Sweet Caroline.
Okay.
It's just in that level of British songs, isn't it? Like
football
sing football songs on. Phil Jolly, Black Eyed Peas, My Humps. It actually makes me feel violent. Just my humps, my humps, my humps.
Phil's feeling violent now. Check it out. He's feeling kind of stabby. He might get a little shooty.
Graham White, any national anthem, they're so boring.
Oh, fuck off. If you say my national anthem is boring, get in the bin.
Think of that.
Yeah, no, don't agree.
I'm actually pretty certain Graham's Scottish as well.
Mate. Oh, right. If you are, our anthem is it gets me in the feels every time I hear it.
I've been in the room. It does.
I've been at Murrayfield when this bagpipes stop and everyone's just singing, and the goose, the emotion. I can't describe the feeling of just listening to 55, 60, 70,000 people singing the national anthem. Tears, mate. No, not having it.
Of all the ones you got defensive of, I wasn't expecting it to be the Scottish national anthem.
Mate, it's that song. No, without fail, gets me every fucking time.
Rosie Rowlands, Never Gonna Give You Up. I can't explain my hatred for this song, but it's deep and enduring hatred, and my son regularly rickrolls me. Was that a no is in agreement or disagree?
It's a wonderful song. Don't ever hate on Rick Astley's to it. I love that at his gig, people just kept chanting for it. He's like, I've got other songs, I will get there.
Former guest, Lisa Clemens, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon by Neil Diamond. Creepy pedo vibes.
Oh, no. What? Wonderful. I'm not even going to touch that.
You can't argue with that reasoning, really, can you? I don't know it, but from the song name, I get it. Jordan Slade, Mr. Brightside, The Killers. There it is.
When that first came out, though, I was obsessed in 2004. Loved it. But Club Nights just destroyed it.
Yeah, it's so horribly overplayed.
Yeah.
Amy Mason.
Brandon Flowers must be sat there being like, this is great.
He's swimming.
I don't have to write any more songs. This is perfect.
I can't actually remember the last time the Killers.
One in, one done. See you later.
Yeah. I better release a couple just in case. Amy Macy, Texas Hold'em by Beyonce. But I would also settle for everything ever made by Coldplay.
Nice. Yeah.
Hannah Jones, I can tell this person's a parent. Baby Shark. Wholeheartedly agree. Terrible, terrible song. I'll give you a couple more. Phil Andre, The Crazy Frog would be high on my list.
Oh, yeah.
Along with anything by the Pet Shop Boys. I don't know.
Really?
Balance out, but...
I mean...
I'll be honest, I can't think of a Pet Shop Boys song off the top of my head. I know one, but my brain's just firing right now.
Single Bilingual Red Letter Day. Some bangers there.
You clearly know some Pet Shop Boys songs.
Since my mum was obsessed with them when I was a kid.
Okay.
But Red Letter Day is a tune. I might even listen to that after this.
But The Crazy Frog, yeah.
Yeah.
How was that popular?
But Mr. Wazzo as well. He's another one, isn't he? Everyone absolutely loved.
At least Mr. Wazzo had like a dance beat to it. The Crazy Frog was just weird. Frog making weird fucking noises. It sounded nothing like a frog.
The beginning of AI.
Yeah. Last but not least, P.R. Brown. Tiptoe Through the Tulips. It's all a lie. I tried it and my allergies just fucking ended me.
Fucking love you. I love you, PR. You absolute legend.
And at the same time, it is a dreadful song. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, fair. He's got a point.
The problem is, every time I think about that song, I get it in my head. I'm going to be singing it now.
I don't know it, so I'm all good.
Oh. Tiptoe through the window.
You just brought his allergies back up. But thank you to everyone that participated in Jamie's challenge this week. We massively appreciate all of you. If you enjoy Jamie's participation challenge, Tom's journal, Callum's teachings, which wasn't here this week, apologies for that. The interview and are they still talking? I mean, I did not realise after 145 editions that this is getting boring now. Jesus Christ. And the other 144 editions of the Chronicles of Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, it'll be Google, Spotify, Apple. You can enjoy us wherever you can stream your podcast from. But what we want you to do is mainly, and most importantly, is come and follow us on all social media at TCO Pod. It's the most important thing you'll do today. Or most importantly, other than that, is subscribe to us on YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. Hit that bell to get notified of new videos released and comment to your heart's content. That's all social media at TCO Pod and YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. Sorry, Jamie, you were saying?
Yes, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to a few of our friends. Every single piece of music you heard on today's edition was brought to you by the wonderful singer-songwriter, Matt Roberts. Go check him out, all social medias at Matt Roberts Music, and give him a follow on the old Spotify. And of course, we have to say a massive thank you to Mr. Braden Barry and his Say We Can Fly .shop. Head on over to the website, see what you like the look of, add it to your basket, and just enter that discount code, The Chronicles, and get 10% off your order. And last but not least, a massive thank you to the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. They are stamping out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. We fly the flag for this charity every single week because it means the absolute world to us as members of the alternative community. If you're not familiar with Sophie's story, head on over to sophielancasterfoundation.com, familiarise yourself with that story, see what you can do to help to bring an end to the hatred being put upon members of the alternative community just because of the music we listen to or the way we dress. And last but not least, massive thank you to my handsome co-host.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. Right back at you. Another wonderful addition in the bag.
Indeed, another wonderful addition.
Jim, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's massively appreciated, and what a wonderful, wonderful guest you were. It was wonderful to hear all your stories. But as for this week, we will see you all next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Ta-ta.